Welcome back to Midnight Affair Tales. Thank you for joining us. I never thought I'd be that guy, the one who finds out his wife is cheating on him. The fool. The blind idiot who missed the signs. But there I was, standing in my own kitchen, gripping my car keys so hard my knuckles turned white, listening to the woman I loved laugh like a damn teenager on the phone with another man. I wasn't supposed to be home. My flight from Chicago had been canceled, so I drove straight back from the airport. I had planned to surprise Lisa, maybe bring home some takeout, open a bottle of wine, spend the evening together. Instead, I walked into my worst nightmare. Hidden in the hallway, I heard her giggle, her voice dripping with affection. "I know, baby. Yeah, he's so clueless. It's almost too easy. David? Please, he wouldn't dare do a damn thing about it. He thinks I'm just at the gym all the time. I told you I'll live, cheat, and do whatever I want." My stomach twisted so hard I thought I'd puke. The words hit me like a baseball bat to the gut. Lisa, the woman I built my life with, the woman I trusted more than anything, had no respect for me. She wasn't just cheating. She was laughing about it, mocking me, as if I were nothing but a joke to her. My vision blurred with rage, but I stayed quiet. I wasn't going to storm in there, screaming like some heartbroken idiot. No, I would make her pay. But first I had to know everything. How long had this been going on? Who was he? And most importantly, how far was she willing to go, thinking I had no control over her? I slipped out of the house as quietly as I had entered. I needed time. I needed to think. If I confronted Lisa now, she'd just lie, spin it around, maybe even make me feel like I was the crazy one. No, I needed proof. I needed to bury her in her own lies. I sat in my truck, gripping the steering wheel, my pulse hammering in my ears. My first instinct was to check our security cameras. But Lisa, being the independent woman she so proudly claimed to be, had demanded privacy a few months ago. She made me disable the cameras inside the house. "David, it's invasive," she had whined. "What, do you think I'm gonna rob us or something?" "No, Lisa. I think you were covering your tracks." I opened her phone records. Dozens of calls to one number. The same one over and over again. The name listed? Jim. Jesus Christ. She didn't even try to hide it. It was right there in front of me. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to think clearly. My wife was sleeping with someone, and she was bold enough to talk to him on our shared phone plan. She wasn't scared. She didn't think I'd do anything. And that was her biggest mistake. I wasn't some pushover. I wasn't going to cry in a corner and beg her to love me again. I was going to ruin her. But first, I needed to know everything. Who was Jim? How long had this been happening? How far was Lisa willing to go, thinking I was just a clueless idiot? It didn't take long to find him. Lisa had raved about her new personal trainer for months. She spent extra hours at the gym, suddenly obsessed with fitness despite never giving a damn before. Jim. I found his Instagram. Full of Jim selfies, flexing in front of the mirror like a damn teenager. Every caption oozed arrogance. Hustle hard. No days off. Push past your limits. Yeah. How about I push your face into a brick wall, Jim? I scrolled further. And then I saw it. A picture from just last week. A group gym selfie. Lisa in her tight workout leggings standing way too close to Jim. His arm was just barely behind her waist, subtle enough to not scream affair, but obvious enough if you knew what to look for. I felt my stomach burn with rage. This wasn't some meaningless hookup. This had been going on for months. Lisa wasn't just having an affair. She was in love with this guy. I clenched my fist. I wasn't just going to catch them. I was going to make them regret ever thinking I was weak. But first I had to play it smart. Lisa thought she was untouchable. That she could do whatever she wanted. She had no idea who she was messing with. I spent the next day acting like nothing was wrong. Lisa had no clue that I knew about her affair, and I wasn't going to tip her off just yet. If I confronted her now, she'd just spin the situation around, make excuses, cry some fake tears, and try to make me the bad guy. I needed her to dig her own grave. That evening, Lisa came home late, again. I sat on the couch, flipping through channels, pretending to be unbothered. She waltzed in, her gym bag slung over her shoulder, her hair slightly damp from a shower. "Hey babe," she said, leaning down to kiss my cheek like nothing was wrong. "Sorry I'm late, I got caught up at the gym." I forced a smile. "No problem. Did you have a good workout?" Her eyes lit up like she was proud of herself. "Yeah. Jim pushed me really hard today." I clenched my jaw but kept my expression neutral. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me suspicious. You sure you're not overdoing it? I asked, watching her reaction. You've been spending so much time at the gym lately. I barely see you anymore. She sighed dramatically, rolling her eyes. Oh, come on, David. Don't start. You always knew I wanted to get in better shape. I nodded slowly. Right, of course. It's just, sometimes I feel like the gym is more important than our marriage. Lisa's expression darkened. She scoffed and shook her head. Are you serious right now? David, you're overreacting. It's just the gym. Gaslighting. I had caught her red-handed, but instead of admitting anything, she flipped it on me. Made me feel like I was the insecure, paranoid husband. It was classic manipulation. You trust me, right? She asked, folding her arms. I smiled. Of course, babe. What? She smirked like she had won. Like she had just put me back in my place. Fine, Lisa. Enjoy your little victory. You have no idea what's coming. That night, as Lisa slept beside me, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. My mind raced with thoughts. Anger. Betrayal. The sheer audacity of her words. You have no control over me. I'll live, cheat, and do whatever I want. She thought I was weak. That I would just sit back and accept her infidelity like a spineless fool. No. I refused to be that guy. I had two choices. Confront her now and let her spin more lies. Stay quiet, gather every bit of evidence, and completely destroy her. I closed my eyes and took a slow breath. I already knew my answer. I wasn't just going to leave her. I was going to ruin her. She thought she had all the power. She thought she could cheat without consequences. But she forgot one simple truth. I always finish what I start. And this was war. The next morning I put my plan into motion. Lisa woke up cheerful, stretching in bed like she didn't have a single worry in the world. You should come to the gym with me today, she said casually, scrolling through her phone. It'll be fun. I forced a chuckle. Nah, I don't want to embarrass myself in front of Jim. He's too intense for me. She laughed, completely oblivious to the fact that I had already looked up private investigators in the area. By noon I had hired one. A former cop named Mark Donovan, highly rated, ruthless, and known for getting the job done. You looking for a divorce case? He asked over the phone. I'm looking for proof, I said coldly. Proof of what? That my wife is a liar. Mark didn't waste time. Within hours he was on the job, tracking Lisa's movements, gathering data, setting up surveillance. And me? I played my role perfectly. I kept smiling. I kept pretending I knew nothing. Lisa was going to learn the hard way. She thought she was playing me. She had no idea the game had just begun. For the next few days I kept my head down and played dumb. Lisa was fully convinced she had me wrapped around her finger. She came home late, spent extra time at the gym, and texted on her phone constantly, always with a smug little smile on her lips. She thought she was getting away with it. What she didn't know was that Mark Donovan, my private investigator, was watching her every move. On the third day Mark sent me a text. Envelope with arrow, got something. Meet me tonight. I drove to a small diner on the outskirts of town, my hands gripping the wheel so tightly I could feel my own pulse. When I walked in, Mark was already sitting at a booth, sipping black coffee, a manila folder on the table in front of him. Take a seat, he said, sliding the folder toward me. I opened it. Photos. Lisa. Her personal trainer, Jim. Them together. In a car. Holding hands. Kissing outside a hotel. I felt my stomach churn with a mixture of rage and satisfaction. It's been going on for a while, Mark said. They're not exactly careful. She's confident. Reckless? Yeah. Because she thought I was a fool. You want more? He asked. I nodded. Get me everything. I want to bury her. Mark smirked. You got it? This was it. Lisa had no idea that her perfect little secret was about to become her worst nightmare. I spent the next week setting up the perfect trap. Lisa had no idea that while she was busy sneaking around, I was making moves that would destroy her entire life. The first thing I did? I called my lawyer. Lisa and I had a prenup. She never thought much of it when we signed it because she assumed we'd be together forever. But that prenup had one very important clause. If she cheated, she got nothing. I had worked my entire life to build what we had. The house, the cars, the investments. Lisa had contributed almost nothing financially. And now, she was about to lose everything. I started moving money around, freezing her access to our accounts without raising suspicion. I made sure all our major assets were secured under my name alone. Then I started setting up the narrative. I made sure that our friends and family saw me as the devoted husband, the one who tried everything to make the marriage work. I planted little seeds in conversations about how Lisa had been acting distant, how I was worried about our relationship. When the truth came out, everyone would already be on my side. Lisa thought she was in control. She thought she could do whatever she wanted. She was about to learn otherwise. Lisa had no idea that her time was running out. She waltzed around the house like she was untouchable, throwing fake affection my way whenever it suited her. If she wasn't at the gym, she was texting someone. Jim, obviously, smiling at her phone like a teenager in love. I pretended not to notice. I let her believe she was winning. One night she came home late, way too late, and found me sitting on the couch, a beer in my hand, casually watching TV. "You're still up?" she asked, a little startled. "Yeah," I said, taking a sip. "Wanted to wait for you." "Long night?" She hesitated, then smiled. "Yeah, the gym was brutal today." I almost laughed. She wasn't even trying to come up with a decent excuse anymore. "You should be careful," I said, my voice calm. "Wouldn't want you to overdo it." She waved me off. "Oh, please. Jim says I'm making great progress." "Jim." She had the audacity to say his name to my face. "That's great, babe," I said, forcing a smile. "I'm really proud of you." Her expression relaxed, and just like that, she let her guard down again. She still thought I was clueless. She had no idea she was standing on the edge of a cliff. Lisa's arrogance knew no bounds. She wasn't just sneaking around anymore, she was flaunting her affair right under my nose. She started dressing differently. Not just gym clothes, but outfits that were meant to turn heads. Short skirts, tight dresses, low-cut tops. When I commented on it, she just rolled her eyes. "What? I can't look good for myself?" "Yeah, sure, Lisa. For yourself." She stopped caring about hiding things. She would leave the room to take phone calls, come home smelling like expensive cologne that I didn't wear, and spend more time staring at her phone than talking to me. One night, I decided to push her buttons. We were sitting on the couch watching TV. Well, I was watching. Lisa was glued to her phone, texting someone, her fingers flying over the screen. I casually leaned over and glanced at it. She pulled the phone away immediately. Too late. I saw the name. Jim. I raised an eyebrow. "Everything okay?" Lisa scoffed, locking her phone. "Yeah, David. Why wouldn't it be?" I shrugged. "I don't know. You seem distracted. Who were you texting?" She crossed her arms, tilting her head at me like I was some dumb puppy. "Wow, are we really doing this? I have friends, you know." "I never said you didn't." I smiled, watching her squirm. Lisa rolled her eyes and stood up. "I don't have to explain myself to you. I'm going to bed." And just like that, she ran away. She thought she was still in control. She thought I was too afraid to question her. She had no idea she was digging her own grave. The next morning, I flipped the script. Lisa was expecting tension, but instead, I acted like the perfect husband. I woke up early and made her coffee. I sent her a text while she was at work. "Hope you're having a great day, babe. Can't wait to see you tonight." When she got home, I kissed her cheek and said, "I was thinking we should have a date night. Just you and me. We haven't done that in a while." She hesitated. "Oh, I actually have plans tonight." I raised an eyebrow. "Plans? With who?" She blinked. "Trap. Just some girls from the gym. We're going out for drinks." "What?" But I played my part perfectly. I smiled and nodded. "Sounds fun. Maybe next week then?" Lisa relaxed, relieved that I wasn't pushing her. "Yeah, definitely." That night, she left the house dressed to impress. I followed her, from a distance. Mark had given me a tracker that I discreetly placed under her car. I watched her location on my phone as she drove, not to a bar but to a hotel. Bingo. She still thought she was in control. She had no idea I was about to turn her life upside down. I waited until Lisa was deep into her little affair before I made my first move. It started small, subtle. I casually mentioned to our mutual friends how Lisa had been so busy at the gym lately, how she was always out with friends. I planted seeds. I made sure her family saw how much I was trying to keep our marriage together. I played the role of the concerned husband, the one trying to make things work. Then I turned up the heat. I accidentally let my phone screen show a picture of Lisa and Jim together when I was hanging out with a few friends. "Oh shit, that's Lisa," one of them said. "Wait, who's that guy?" I acted confused. Oh, that's just her personal trainer. She's been spending a lot of time with him lately. Murmurs. Doubt. Suspicion. It spread like wildfire. And Lisa? She was still completely clueless. She had no idea that her perfect little world was starting to crumble. But she was about to find out. Lisa had no idea that while she was prancing around with Jim, I was working with my lawyer to set the stage for her downfall. Everything was in place. The evidence mark collected? Solid. The prenup? Ironclad. Our shared assets? Now legally secured under my name. I was ready to drop the bomb. One evening Lisa came home late again. She smelled like cheap hotel soap and had that same smug look on her face. I was sitting at the dining table, casually scrolling through my phone when she walked in. Hey babe, she said, kicking off her heels. Long day at work? I smiled. She had no idea what was coming. Actually, yeah. Super productive. She poured herself a glass of wine and plopped onto the couch, acting like a carefree queen in her castle. I was thinking, I said, keeping my voice calm. We should talk about our marriage. Lisa tensed for a second but quickly recovered. Oh? What about it? I leaned forward, placing my elbows on the table. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. You know, about trust. Commitment? Lisa sighed dramatically. David, not this again. You're acting so paranoid lately. You know I love you. What? I smirked, pulling a manila folder from my bag and sliding it across the table. That's great to hear, babe. Because I had Mark Donovan follow you for the past 2 weeks. Lisa's face drained of color. She stared at the folder like it was a bomb about to go off. Open it? I leaned back, watching her squirm. With shaky hands she pulled out the photos. The texts. Screenshots of bank transfers. Pictures of her and Jim sneaking into hotel rooms. Silence. She didn't even breathe. I tilted my head. So tell me, Lisa, how long were you planning to keep up this little game? The moment Lisa realized she was caught, she flipped the script. David, wait, I can explain, she stammered, clutching the photos like they were her lifeline. I laughed. Oh, this should be good. Go on. Explain to me why you've been screwing Jim behind my back for months. Her eyes welled up. The tears were coming. Crocodile. Tears. It wasn't serious, she blurted. It was just, I was lonely, okay. You've been so busy with work and I felt neglected. I made a mistake. I clapped my hands slowly, mocking her. A mistake? Lisa, this isn't a one-night stand. You built a whole second life with this guy. You lied to my face. You thought I was too stupid to notice? She sobbed harder. I was just confused. I didn't know what I wanted. I stood up, towering over her. This was it. The moment I had been waiting for. Well, let me make it easy for you, I said, pulling another folder from my bag and tossing it onto the table. Lisa hesitated before flipping it open. Divorce papers. Her breath hitched. David, no. We can fix this. I chuckled. No, you can fix this. By signing those papers. She shook her head frantically. Please don't do this. We have a life together. We have memories. Doesn't that mean anything? I scoffed. Yeah, Lisa. It means I was a loyal husband who gave you everything while you laughed behind my back. But you know what? You're right. You do have control over your life. You can live, cheat, and do whatever you want. I leaned in, my voice cold. But you won't be doing it in my house. Not anymore. Lisa was in full meltdown mode. She clutched the divorce papers like they were burning her fingers. You can't do this, she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. I smiled. I already did. Her eyes darted toward the door like she wanted to run, but she was trapped. No more lies. No more manipulation. She tried another tactic. Anger. You're just doing this to hurt me, she snapped. You're trying to punish me for a mistake. I laughed darkly. Lisa, you didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. Over and over again. Her face twisted in frustration. You think you're so perfect? Like you never did anything wrong in this marriage? I crossed my arms. Oh, I wasn't perfect. But you know what I was? Faithful. Silence. Lisa's chest rose and fell rapidly as she fought to find an argument. She had nothing. I leaned against the doorframe, completely relaxed. You should probably call Jim. Looks like you're going to need a new place to stay. Her mouth fell open. David? I held up a hand. Pack your bags. You have until tomorrow morning? She blinked as if reality was finally hitting her. Wait, you're actually kicking me out? I smiled. Oh, you thought you could cheat, lie, and humiliate me and still keep my house? My money? My life? I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. Nah, Lisa. This is the beginning of your new life. I turned back one last time. Let's see how much you like it. I walked out, leaving her standing in the ruins of everything she had destroyed. Lisa thought she could do whatever she wanted. She was about to learn what it felt like to lose it all. The next morning, I woke up to dozens of missed calls and texts from Lisa. David, please pick up. Let's talk. I know I messed up, but we can fix this. You don't have to be so cruel. Where am I supposed to go? Please. I don't want to lose everything. Too late. I ignored every message. She wanted to cry now? Beg for forgiveness? Where was this energy when she was sneaking off to hotels and laughing at me behind my back? By the afternoon, the real fallout began. Lisa's family found out. Her sister called me, her voice dripping with anger. David, what the hell is going on? Lisa is saying you blindsided her with divorce papers. I chuckled. Oh? Did she also tell you why? Silence. Then, a hesitant, she said you're overreacting. I sighed. Check your inbox. I sent her one of the pictures Mark had taken. Lisa, lips locked with Jim in the parking lot of the gym. 2 minutes later, Lisa's sister texted back. Envelope with arrow, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. One by one, her family turned against her. Her parents? Furious. They had always seen me as the good guy, the stable husband who treated their daughter like a queen. Now they knew the truth. Her friends? Whispering. People started pulling away from her. The gym? No longer her safe space. Word spread, and suddenly she wasn't the hot fitness queen anymore. She was the married woman who threw away her life for her trainer. And Jim? Oh, Jim was next. Lisa must have thought that Jim would be her safety net. That when I threw her out, he'd be waiting with open arms. Wrong. I had already been working on Jim's downfall. It started with a simple phone call to the owner of the gym where Jim worked. Hey, I just wanted to give you a heads up, I said casually. One of your trainers is sleeping with his married clients. The gym owner was silent for a moment before saying, Excuse me? I chuckled. Yeah, Jim, he's been messing around with my wife for months. I have proof. Photos. Videos. Texts. Thought you should know, considering your gym prides itself on professionalism. By the end of the day, Jim was fired. Lisa had no idea. She still thought she had him. She had packed her bags and moved into his apartment, only to walk in on him sitting there, jobless, panicked, and furious. She called me that night. What did you do? She hissed into the phone. I leaned back in my chair, grinning. Me? Nothing. Guess karma works fast. Lisa screamed and hung up. Her perfect little world? Shattered. Over the next few weeks, Lisa's life fell apart completely. She had no money. Since we had a prenup, she got nothing in the divorce. She thought she was going to take half of everything. Wrong? Jim? Broke and unemployed. He wasn't some rich businessman who could support her. He was just a gym rat who had lost everything because of her. Her reputation? Ruined. Everywhere she went, people whispered. Our mutual friends sided with me. Her family stopped supporting her. She tried calling me again. David, please. I don't know what to do. I smiled, letting the silence drag out before saying, Not my problem, Lisa. Click. Lisa thought she could cheat, lie, and laugh in my face. She thought she had all the power. Now she was learning the hard way. She had nothing. Lisa was spiraling. She called me over and over again, leaving voicemail after voicemail, each one more pathetic than the last. Envelope with arrow, David, please. Can we just talk? I know I messed up, but I can't do this without you. Envelope with arrow, I lost everything. Jim won't even look at me. My parents won't talk to me. I need you. Envelope with arrow, please, David. I don't even know where to go. Pathetic. The woman who once laughed in my face, who said she would live, cheat, and do whatever she wanted, was now begging for my help. I ignored every single call. But that didn't stop her from showing up at my doorstep. One evening, I came home from work to find Lisa sitting on my porch. She looked like hell. Messy hair, dark circles under her eyes, wearing the same clothes from 2 days ago. David, please, she whispered as I stepped past her toward the door. I didn't even look at her. Go home, Lisa. She grabbed my arm. I don't have a home. I turned to face her, expression cold. Not my problem. Tears welled up in her eyes. David, I love you. I laughed. You don't get to say that anymore. Lisa sobbed. Real tears this time. But I didn't care. She wanted a world where she could do whatever she wanted without consequences. Now she had one. I walked into the house, slamming the door in her face. I expected her to leave. She didn't. For the next 30 minutes, she sat outside, crying like a child who had lost their favorite toy. Pathetic. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend, Jake. Envelope with arrow. Dude, Lisa's all over Facebook talking about you. Says you ruined her life and destroyed her future. Oh. I opened my phone and scrolled through Lisa's pathetic, desperate posts. I made a mistake, but I didn't deserve this. People can be so cruel. I just wanted to be happy. Guess some men never really loved you if they can throw you away so easily. I smirked. She was playing the victim. She still refused to take responsibility for her actions. I typed a simple reply. Cheaters always play the victim when they get caught. Actions have consequences, Lisa. Then I hit post. Within minutes, her comments section exploded. You cheated on your husband and now you want to cry? Elmo. You literally said you could do whatever you want. Guess that didn't work out, huh? Karma's a bitch and so are you? Lisa deleted the post. She had nowhere to run. And I was done with her. She thought she could humiliate me. Now the whole world saw her for what she really was. A week later I ran into Jim. I was at a coffee shop, grabbing my morning espresso, when I spotted him sitting at a corner table, alone. His usual cocky Jim bro energy? Gone. His face was tense, his jaw clenched, and his phone sat on the table, screen cracked, probably from him throwing it in frustration. I smirked. I walked over, pulling up a chair across from him. He looked up, startled. Oh hey Jim, I said casually, sipping my coffee. His face turned red. He was embarrassed. David? He muttered. I smiled. Heard you lost your job. Tough break, man. Jim exhaled through his nose, tapping his fingers against the table. Look, dude, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I laughed. Didn't mean for it to happen? What, you just tripped and fell into my wife? Jim flinched. I leaned forward. Let me tell you something. You thought you won, didn't you? You thought Lisa was leaving me for you. You thought you were the guy. He stayed silent. Well, guess what, Jim? You were just her side piece. And now you're her nothing. Jim clenched his jaw, trying to act tough, but I could see it. He was broken. Enjoy unemployment, I said, standing up. Maybe next time, don't screw a married woman. I walked away, leaving Jim exactly where he belonged, at rock bottom. Lisa? Destroyed. Jim? Ruined. Me? Thriving. But this wasn't over yet. I had one final move left to make. I knew it was only a matter of time before Lisa tried to slither her way back into my life. She had no job, no money, and no support system. Jim had abandoned her. Her family wanted nothing to do with her. She had burned every bridge. So where did she go? Back to me. One evening, I came home to find her standing on my doorstep. She looked even worse than before, hair unwashed, makeup smudged, wearing some old hoodie that wasn't even hers. David, can we talk? Her voice was small, fragile, like she was the victim in all this. I sighed. Lisa, we have nothing to talk about. She stepped closer. Please. Just 5 minutes. That's all I ask. Against my better judgment, I let her in. Not because I felt bad, but because I wanted to hear just how low she had fallen. She sat on the couch, wringing her hands like a child caught stealing. I miss you, she said softly. I stared at her. You miss me? That's rich. You didn't seem to miss me when you were sneaking off to hotels with Jim. She sniffled, her eyes glistening. I was stupid. I was selfish. I don't know, David, I thought I needed something else to make me happy. But I was wrong. I had everything I ever needed with you. I almost laughed. The audacity. So now that your affair blew up in your face, you suddenly realize what you lost? Lisa nodded quickly. Yes. I swear I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. We can go to counseling, we can start fresh. Just please don't shut me out. I leaned forward, staring her dead in the eyes. Lisa, you ended this marriage the moment you looked me in the face and said you could do whatever you wanted. Now you're just facing the consequences of your choices. Her lip trembled. I love you. I chuckled, standing up. No, Lisa. You love the life I gave you. And now that it's gone, you realize you're nothing without it? She opened her mouth to say something, but I cut her off. Now get out of my house. Lisa sobbed, begging me to reconsider. But I didn't waver. I didn't feel anything for her anymore. She had made her choice. Now she had to live with it. After I kicked Lisa out, I figured she'd try to find another sucker to take her in. But she wasn't so lucky. I started hearing whispers about her from mutual acquaintances. Lisa is couch surfing at random friends' places. She tried moving back in with her parents, but they refused. She's been seen at bars, drinking alone. She was unraveling. I ran into one of our old friends, Emily, at a coffee shop. She hesitated before saying, "David? I saw Lisa the other day. She looked awful. I don't think she's handling this well." I sipped my coffee. "Not my problem." Emily sighed. "I get it, but..." I shook my head. "No, you don't. She made her choices. I warned her. And now, she's living with them." Lisa had spent months thinking she was untouchable. She mocked me, humiliated me. She chose to betray me. She doesn't get to cry about it now. One evening, as I was coming home from work, I saw a familiar figure standing outside my house. Lisa. Her eyes were hollow, her body slumped like she had completely given up. "David," she croaked. "This is the last time I'll bother you. I just wanted to say goodbye." I leaned against my car, crossing my arms. "Goodbye?" She nodded. "I'm leaving town. There's nothing left for me here." I should have felt something. Pity, nostalgia, maybe even a little sadness. But I didn't. All I saw was the woman who had destroyed our marriage, and was now facing the consequences of her arrogance. "Good luck, Lisa," I said, my voice void of emotion. She swallowed hard. I hope you find someone who treats you the way you deserve." I smirked. "Oh, don't worry. I will." Lisa gave me one last look, one of pure, crushing regret, before walking away. And as I watched her disappear into the night, I felt it. Freedom. Closure. And the absolute satisfaction of knowing that Lisa had finally learned her lesson. Lisa may have said goodbye, but I knew her too well. A woman like her, proud, manipulative, and entitled, wasn't just going to walk away without one last attempt to crawl back into my life. And sure enough, she did. A week after our last conversation, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity got the best of me. "David, please don't hang up." "Lisa." I sighed, already irritated. "Lisa, what do you want?" Her voice was shaky, but I could tell she was playing the pity card. I don't have anywhere to go. My savings are gone. I lost my job. I even tried calling Jim, but..." She stopped herself. I smirked. "Let me guess. He blocked you?" Silence. I chuckled. "Lisa, you threw your marriage away for a guy who won't even answer your calls. What do you expect me to do?" Her breath hitched. "I don't know. I just need a little help getting back on my feet." I laughed. Out loud. "Help? You mean after you cheated on me, humiliated me, and told me to my face that you'd do whatever you want? You must be out of your damn mind." She started crying. "Real? Fake? Didn't matter. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but please, David, I have nothing left." I sighed, rubbing my temple. "Lisa, let me make this very simple. I don't care." Her sobs grew louder. "David, please. You made your choice. And now you have to live with it. Goodbye, Lisa." I hung up. For good. Lisa wasn't looking for help. She was looking for a way out of the mess she created. And I wasn't going to be her savior. Just when I thought Lisa had hit rock bottom, she somehow found a way to dig deeper. I was at work, going through some emails, when my lawyer, Jacob, called me. "David, you sitting down?" I frowned. "What's up?" "Lisa just filed a lawsuit against you." I almost laughed. "Excuse me?" "She's claiming emotional distress. Says you ruined her reputation and left her with no financial support." Unbelievable. Lisa had cheated on me, thrown our marriage away, and then tried to come crawling back. And now, she was trying to sue me? I smirked. "Jacob, please tell me she doesn't have a case." "She doesn't. The prenup is bulletproof, and we have more than enough proof of her affair. Honestly, I think she's just desperate for money." "Good," I said. "Then let's bury this before it even starts." I wasn't just going to win this case. I was going to make sure Lisa regretted ever stepping into that courtroom. A week later, I sat in a courtroom across from the woman who used to be my wife. Lisa looked exhausted. Her once perfect makeup was uneven, her expensive clothes replaced with something basic, her hair thrown into a messy ponytail. She wasn't the confident, cheating wife who had mocked me all those months ago. She was a wreck. Her lawyer started first, rambling on about how I had publicly humiliated her and destroyed her financially. Then my lawyer stood up. "Your Honor, let's go over some key details." Jacob walked toward the judge, placing a thick folder on the stand. Lisa Thompson signed a prenup stating that in the case of adultery, she would not receive any financial compensation. Here is her signature, and here is the proof of her affair. He flipped through photo after photo, each one showing Lisa kissing, touching, and sneaking into hotels with Jim. Lisa's face turned white. Her lawyer shifted uncomfortably. The judge skimmed through the evidence, sighed, and turned to Lisa. "Mrs. Thompson, do you deny having an extramarital affair?" Lisa opened her mouth, closed it. She had no way out. "No, Your Honor," she mumbled. "Then, given the terms of your prenuptial agreement and the clear evidence of infidelity, I see no reason for this lawsuit to continue. Case dismissed." And just like that, Lisa lost. She turned to look at me, her eyes full of desperation. But all I gave her was a smirk. She thought she could cheat, lie, and manipulate her way back into my life. Now, she had nothing. And this time it was truly over. Lisa walked out of the courtroom with her head down, defeated. The confident, arrogant woman who once laughed in my face and told me she could do whatever she wanted had just been publicly humiliated and legally destroyed. I didn't follow her. I didn't need to. By the time I stepped outside, Lisa was already sitting on the steps, crying into her hands. People passed by, not even giving her a second glance. She was nothing now. Just another cautionary tale. I pulled out my phone and texted Jacob. "Envelope with arrow, make sure she pays all legal fees. I want her to feel every last consequence of this stunt." He responded instantly. "Envelope with arrow, already done. She's drowning in debt." I smirked. Lisa thought she could ruin me. Instead, she ruined herself. And the best part? I never had to lift a finger. Karma did all the work. With Lisa completely out of my life, I finally felt free. I focused on myself. My career, my health, my happiness. I sold the house we lived in. Too many bad memories. I traveled, something Lisa always hated doing. Turns out, I loved it. I met new people, real loyal people who didn't betray those who loved them. And Lisa? She was nowhere. She wasn't on social media anymore. Mutual friends told me she was still couch surfing, trying to hold on to anyone who would listen to her sob story. No job. No money. No home. She had nothing left. I should have felt bad. But I didn't. This was her doing. She built this mess with her own hands. And now she was living in it. Months passed. One night I was out with some friends at a bar. We were celebrating a huge promotion I just got. Life was good. That's when I saw her. Lisa. She was alone. Sitting at the bar, nursing a drink, staring at the counter like the world had crushed her. She looked tired. Worn out. Like someone who had lost everything and had nowhere to go. She didn't see me at first. But when she did, her eyes widened. I could see it, the regret, the shame, the humiliation. She looked away. For the first time, Lisa wasn't trying to manipulate me. She wasn't trying to lie or make excuses. She knew. She had lost. And I had won. I walked past her without saying a word. She didn't stop me. She didn't even try. And in that moment, I knew. Lisa was finally broken. For good. A week after that silent encounter at the bar, I got an unexpected text from an unknown number. "Envelope with arrow, David. I know I don't deserve to ask for anything, but please, I just need someone to talk to. Lisa." I stared at the screen for a long time. Months ago, this message might have made me angry. Maybe even tempted me to respond. Now, I felt nothing. She was reaching out not because she missed me, but because she had no one left. Not my problem. I put my phone down and went back to my life. My real life. Lisa? She was just a ghost now. Just when I thought this story was over, I got an unexpected update, this time about Jim. Turns out, his downfall was just as bad as Lisa's. After getting fired from the gym, he tried to open his own private training business. It failed. His reputation was ruined. Nobody wanted to hire the guy who slept with a married client and lost his job over it. He was now working at a rundown local gym, making half of what he used to. Even better? Lisa and Jim didn't last. I heard through a mutual friend that Jim dumped Lisa weeks after she moved in. Apparently, he got sick of her whining, her emotional breakdowns, and her constant complaining. She was too much drama, Jim had reportedly said. I laughed when I heard that. He thought he was winning when he stole my wife. Now, he was stuck in the same miserable life as her. Perfect. With Lisa and Jim completely out of my life, I focused on me. And for the first time in years, I was happy. I moved to a new city, fresh start, fresh energy. I got in the best shape of my life. No more stress, no more emotional baggage. I started dating again. This time, with real women. Loyal women. One night, while out on a date, I got a notification on my phone. Lisa had finally deleted her social media. She had officially disappeared. And just like that, the final piece of her was erased from my life. I raised my glass to my date, smiling. To new beginnings. Lisa once told me, "You have no control over me, I'll live, cheat, and do whatever I want." Well, she got exactly what she wanted. And it destroyed her. Meanwhile, I thrived. Game over. Months passed and my life only got better. New city. New job. New people. No baggage. I had almost completely forgotten about Lisa. She was a chapter of my life that I had closed, locked, and thrown away. But then one night I was out with some colleagues when one of them, Greg, leaned in and said, "Hey, didn't you used to be married to Lisa Thompson?" I froze for a second, then casually sipped my drink. "Yeah. Why?" Greg shook his head. "Dude, she's a mess." I raised an eyebrow. "You've seen her?" "Not personally, but my cousin works at a bar where she's a regular now. Apparently, she drinks alone every night and barely talks to anyone. Looks terrible. Sounds even worse." I smirked. Lisa, the woman who once acted untouchable, now just another broken soul at the bottom of a bottle. "She did it to herself," I said simply, shrugging. Greg nodded. "Yeah, I figured. My cousin said she mentioned your name once. Something about how she lost the best thing she ever had." I didn't even flinch. Lisa's regret? Not my problem. Lisa's misery? Not my concern. Lisa's downfall? Her own doing. "Well," I said, standing up and stretching, "she's just gonna have to live with that, isn't she?" That was the last time I ever heard her name. And I never thought about her again. Without Lisa weighing me down, I became the best version of myself. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. Career? Skyrocketing. Health? Peak condition. Social life? Incredible. And then one day something happened that I never expected. I met someone. Not just another fling, not just some rebound. Someone real. She was kind, honest, and nothing like Lisa. No games. No lies. No secrets. On our third date, she looked at me over dinner and said, "You seem like someone who's been through a lot, but it didn't break you." I smiled, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. One morning I was sipping my coffee, scrolling through my phone, when a thought hit me. Lisa was gone. Not just from my life but from my mind. There was no more anger. No more bitterness. No more weight on my shoulders. I had won. Not just by watching her life crumble, not just by walking away from her disaster. I had won because I had rebuilt myself. Stronger. Smarter. Happier. Lisa once told me, "You have no control over me, I'll live, cheat, and do whatever I want." Well, she was right. She lived how she wanted. And she lost everything. And me? I lived how I deserved. And I got everything. Game over. I won. Months passed and for the first time in years I felt whole. Lisa was nothing but a distant memory, a lesson learned. And then she walked into my life. Her name was Emma. She wasn't just another woman, she was different. She was warm, kind, and had a way of making me forget the past without even trying. No games. No mind tricks. Just honesty. We met at a bookstore of all places. I was reaching for a copy of The Art of War when she grabbed it at the same time. "You into military strategy?" she teased, her hazel eyes filled with curiosity. I smirked. "Not exactly. More like, strategy for life." She smiled. "Smart man. I like that." We talked for an hour right there in the aisle. And when I finally asked her out, she laughed. "I was wondering when you'd get to that." Emma wasn't just someone new. She was everything Lisa wasn't. She didn't take love for granted. She didn't play games. She didn't make me question my worth. For the first time in forever, I wasn't looking back. Just when I thought Lisa was finally gone from my life, she made one last pathetic attempt to crawl back. One night, I got a text from an unknown number. Envelope with arrow. David, I heard about you and your new girlfriend. I just wanted to say, I'm happy for you. I stared at the message. What kind of sick joke was this? Lisa? Happy for me? I wasn't stupid. This wasn't congratulations. This was desperation. She was hoping I'd respond. That I'd say something, anything to give her another chance to manipulate me. I smiled, deleted the message, and blocked the number. Lisa was nothing. A ghost. A mistake. A lesson. She had her chance. She threw it away. 2 years after Lisa's downfall, I found myself standing on a balcony in Paris, holding a ring in my pocket. Emma stood beside me, looking at the Eiffel Tower, unaware of what was about to happen. My heart raced, not with fear but with excitement. Emma turned to me, laughing about something, then noticed the serious look on my face. David? What's wrong? I took a deep breath, then smiled. Absolutely nothing. Then I got down on one knee. Emma gasped, covering her mouth. You changed my life, I said softly. You made me believe in love again. You made me forget the past and focus on the future. And I don't want a future without you. Tears welled in her eyes. Emma, will you marry me? She didn't even hesitate. Yes. 1,000 times yes. I slid the ring onto her finger, sealing the new chapter of my life. Lisa once said, you have no control over me. I'll live, cheat, and do whatever I want. And look where that got her. And look where life took me. I won. Again. The day I married Emma, I felt something I never had before. True peace. There were no doubts. No fears. No second guessing. Emma walked down the aisle, a vision of everything I never knew I needed. As I stood there, waiting for her to take my hand, I thought about how far I had come. I once thought Lisa was my forever. I once believed in her lies, her fake love, her arrogance. I once let her betray me and laughed in my face. But look at me now. Happy. Oh. And marrying a woman who actually deserved me. When Emma reached me, she smiled, tears shimmering in her eyes. You ready? She whispered. I smirked. More than ever. We said our vows, and when I kissed her, I felt it. The final closure. Lisa? She was nothing now. Her betrayal didn't define me. My happiness did. A year into my marriage with Emma, I got one last piece of news about Lisa. It came from an old mutual friend, Mark, who I ran into at a business event. We caught up over drinks, and eventually he leaned in with a smirk. You'll never guess who I ran into last week. I already knew. Lisa? Mark nodded. Dude, she's miserable. Working some low-paying job, still single, living in some crappy apartment. She looked rough. I didn't feel bad. Not even a little. She asked about you, Mark added. I raised an eyebrow. Oh? Yeah. Wanted to know if you were happy. When I told her you were married, she got real quiet. I chuckled. That must have stung. Lisa once thought she could cheat, lie, and never face consequences. Now she was stuck in a life she hated. And me? I was living a life she could only dream of. Karma is a funny thing. I never thought I'd see Lisa again. But fate had other plans. One evening I was at a grocery store picking up wine for dinner. As I reached for a bottle, I heard a hesitant voice behind me. David? I turned around. Lisa. She looked different. Not in a good way. No confidence. No arrogance. Just regret. Her once perfect hair? Messy. Her eyes? Tired. She looked like a woman who had lost everything. I stared at her, waiting for her to say something. You look good, she finally muttered. I smirked. I know. She swallowed hard. I heard you got married. I did? Lisa gave a weak smile. She's lucky to have you. I tilted my head. No, Lisa. I'm lucky to have her. See, the difference is she actually appreciates me. She knows what love is. Unlike you. She winced, her face twisting in pain. I wasn't going to sugarcoat it. She deserved to feel every ounce of regret. I was stupid, she whispered. I ruined the best thing I ever had. I crossed my arms. Yeah, you did. And now you have to live with it. Lisa looked down, her fingers trembling. Do you ever think about me? I smiled. Not cruelly. Just honestly. No. That single word shattered her. Lisa nodded slowly, blinking back tears. I hope you're happy, David. I shrugged. I am. More than I ever was with you. And with that I walked away. Lisa had finally learned what it felt like to be powerless. And for me, that was the greatest revenge of all. Walking away from Lisa that night in the grocery store felt like closing the last open door to my past. I didn't look back. I didn't care what she did after that moment. I didn't wonder if she cried, if she regretted every decision, or if she wished she had never thrown me away. It didn't matter. I had given her a reality check, the final one she would ever get from me. And for the first time I knew I was truly free. Lisa could spend the rest of her life drowning in regret. But me? I was going home to a woman who loved me. To a life that wasn't built on lies. That was the last time I ever saw the woman who once thought she had complete control over me. With Lisa gone for good, my life became better than I ever imagined. My career was thriving. My marriage was solid. My peace of mind was unshakable. I never worried about betrayal. Never worried about secrets, lies, or hidden affairs. I had built something real. Something worth keeping. And it made me realize Lisa was never my person. I had spent years with the wrong woman thinking that I had to fight to make things work. Real love doesn't require a fight. It just exists. And when it's real, it stays. Emma proved that to me every single day. And I never took it for granted. Because I knew what it felt like to lose something. And I damn sure wasn't going to lose something real. One day while scrolling through my phone, I saw a message request. From Lisa. I almost deleted it without reading. But curiosity got the best of me. Envelope with arrow. Hey David. I don't expect you to respond, but I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. For everything. Envelope with arrow. You didn't deserve what I did to you. And I see that now. Envelope with arrow. I thought I could do whatever I wanted. I thought I'd never lose you. But I did. And it was the worst mistake of my life. Envelope with arrow. I just needed to say that. Even if you never see this. I stared at the message. The old me? Might have felt something. Might have responded. Might have let her words affect me. But now. I smirked. Too little. Too late. I didn't even bother blocking her this time. Because there was nothing left for her to take. I had one. And she had to live with her loss. I deleted the message and went back to my real life. The one she would never be a part of again. After Lisa's last desperate message, I thought that was the end of it. But then I got a text from an old mutual friend, Jake. Envelope with arrow. Dude. You won't believe what Lisa did. I sighed, already bored. What now? Envelope with arrow. She tried to get back with Jim. I burst out laughing. Lisa, the same woman who had thrown away our marriage for Jim, was now trying to crawl back to him? I shook my head. Let me guess. He rejected her? Envelope with arrow. Big time. Told her he wanted nothing to do with her. She lost her mind. I could picture it. Lisa, desperate, pathetic, finally realizing that she had no one left. Jim was never her future. And I sure as hell wasn't either. She was completely alone. That was her final punishment. And honestly, it was exactly what she deserved. After hearing about Lisa's last attempt at salvaging her pathetic life, I realized something. This was what real winning looked like. Not revenge. Not seeing her destroyed. But moving on. Thriving. Lisa was still stuck in the past, drowning in her regrets. Meanwhile, I was happier than I had ever been. I looked at Emma, who was sitting across from me at dinner, laughing at something on her phone. She caught me staring and smiled. What? I shook my head, smiling back. Nothing. I'm lucky. She reached for my hand. No, David. We both are. And she was right. This was real. No lies. No betrayal. No second guessing. Lisa could spend the rest of her life wishing she had me back. But me? I had something better. Months later, I heard one last update about Lisa. Jake texted me out of nowhere. Envelope with arrow. Lisa moved out of town. No one knows where she went. I stared at the message. Then, I deleted it. Because I didn't care. Lisa was finally gone. For good. Her story was over. And mine? Mine was just beginning. Game over, Lisa. I won. For the first time in years, Lisa didn't exist in my world anymore. No texts. No rumors. No desperate attempts to reach me. She was just gone. And honestly, felt damn good. I spent so much time living in the chaos of that toxic relationship that I didn't realize how peaceful life could be without it. Now, my world was full of love, laughter, and stability. Emma and I took a trip to Italy, a honeymoon we never had to worry about being ruined by secrets or betrayal. One evening, as we sat on a balcony sipping wine, Emma turned to me and said, "Do you ever think about her?" I smirked. Who? She laughed. That's the best answer you could have given. And I meant it. Lisa was not a part of me anymore. She was a ghost. A warning. A story I no longer cared to tell. My life was mine again. Months passed and I never once thought about Lisa, until one random moment reminded me of everything. I was in my office when my assistant knocked on the door. "Sir, someone dropped this off for you." It was a small envelope, no return address. Inside, a single photo. It was Lisa and me, taken years ago on one of our anniversaries. There was a handwritten note on the back. I wish I had known what I had before I lost it. No name. No contact info. But I didn't need it. I knew exactly who sent it. I stared at the photo for a moment before ripping it in half and tossing it in the trash. Lisa's final cry for attention meant nothing to me, because she was nothing to me. One evening as I was closing up my office, Emma called me. "Hey babe, are you almost home?" "Yeah, just leaving now." "You okay?" She hesitated for a moment before saying, "I have a surprise for you." I smiled. "Oh yeah? What is it?" "You'll see when you get here." I drove home, walked through the door and froze. Emma was standing in the living room, holding a pregnancy test. Positive. I looked at her, stunned. "Are you serious?" She nodded, tears in her eyes. "We're having a baby, David." For a second I couldn't even speak. Then I pulled her into my arms, holding her tight. This was it. The real happy ending. Lisa thought she had won. She thought she had power over me. But real power isn't control. It's love. It's happiness. It's building something real. And now, I had everything. Everything she threw away. Everything she could never have. This was the real victory. And she wasn't even in the picture anymore. Life had a way of bringing everything full circle. Years ago, Lisa stood in front of me, full of arrogance, telling me she could live, cheat, and do whatever she wanted. Now, I was standing in the nursery of my home, assembling a crib for my unborn child, a future she would never be part of. Emma walked in, placing a hand on her growing belly, smiling. "I still can't believe this is happening," she whispered. I smiled, pulling her close. "Believe it, babe. This is real. This is ours. No lies. No betrayal. No hidden agendas. Just real love. Real commitment. Everything Lisa threw away." That night, as I lay in bed, feeling Emma's warmth beside me, I thought about how different my life could have been. If I had forgiven Lisa. If I had let her back in. If I had fallen for her lies again. I could have been stuck in that toxic cycle forever. But I wasn't. I had escaped. And Lisa? She had to live every single day knowing she destroyed herself. Years later, I was in a coffee shop, working on some last-minute business deals, when an old acquaintance sat across from me. "David, man, it's been years. How's life treating you?" I smiled. "Better than I ever imagined." "I bet. Heard you've got a family now, wife, kids. Living the dream." I nodded. "Yeah, it's been incredible." He hesitated for a second before saying, "You ever hear from Lisa?" I chuckled, shaking my head. "No. And I don't care to." He smirked. "Well, you wouldn't believe what happened to her." I raised an eyebrow, already knowing it wouldn't be good. She never recovered. Moved around a lot, never settled down. Still single. Still broke. No real career. Just kinda existing. I sipped my coffee, completely unfazed. "Sounds about right." He leaned forward. "Man, she really lost everything, huh?" I set my cup down and smirked. "No, man. She lost me. And that was everything." Lisa had once believed she could live, cheat, and do whatever she wanted. She thought she had all the power. But in the end, I was the one who truly won. Forever. The end.